Hey again YouTube, this is Dr. Joris Welsh, also known as At11 on the Union server of City of Heroes. And yeah, I'm back after a week. Wasn't really planned, but I think other things really just seemed to come up and dwell and take my time up last week. Although I probably wasn't in the best position to be talking anyway, because I was full of cold for most of it. I've still got a bit of a cold now, so I apologise for any sort of like coughing or whatever weird noises that you end up getting when you've got a cold and whatnot. So yeah, but we're going to be carrying on. This is actually the last week of City Heroes. This is the week it closes, this coming Saturday. So yeah, no time like the present to get the rest of these done. So this next batch of 4 are all part of a particular group of characters, and then I'll have 4 remaining characters to talk about on, well, 3 from villains and 1 hero. 2 of them will be very brief because I don't really have much to say about them, and then I might still end up doing some videos that go through some of the missions, so there won't be any commentary and whatnot. I do have a signature story arc on the mission architect system that covers my hero characters. I may go through the Death of Statesman arc, the Who Will Die one as a particular character. I don't know yet. I'll see how it goes. I mean, one initial idea I had was that it essentially was going to be recording footage of me and my friends playing, but the consensus seems to be that they just don't really want to fire up the game. As much as they want to, it's too sad and depressing for them at the moment, which is completely understandable. So, I mean, even just to play, never mind, using, getting any footage and whatnot. So, yeah, I'll see how it goes, really. All I do know is the one that I will definitely be doing outside of the characters will be the last sort of moments on Union before the game shut down and whatnot. So should point out I'm not working on the time now as well. Since I last updated videos, I got a message from YouTube saying congratulations, you can now upload videos longer than 15 minutes. So it's like, no, okay, didn't ask for it, thanks, but that would have been helpful from the start, to be quite honest, but ah well. So yeah, I've got a little bit more freedom to waffle on, I suppose, then, for this video. So yeah, for the character, this particular character itself then, so this is King Bishop. This is another one of my brute characters. It's on villain side. So yeah, this is the start of characters that are part of the Dunelm Kingdom, as it were. So all my heroes are on the Dunelm group, and then essentially this is the evil, goatee-beard, alternative universe versions of some of the characters in the Dunelm Kingdom, where essentially, yeah, the group rules the roost, as it were. They rule their particular version of Earth with a 9 fist, and Bishop is literally king, hence the name King Bishop instead of Prince Bishop. So, so about the character sort of archetypes. So it's another brute. So brutes probably second to scrappers as far as ones that I kind of dig and whatnot. The power set you are looking at is Street Justice, Willpower. So I kept with Willpower as I did with Prince Bishop, just so that I had some form of familiarity with the character, and obviously keep to the strength that Prince Bishop has as well, to an extent. And then the attack power essentially is Street Justice. Now, I had originally, there was never an intention to make a character that was essentially going to be super strength willpower, and essentially just make a brute version of Bishop, because, well, I've already got that as the tank, and I didn't really, and I'd already had a super strength brute in Pervium Tower as well, so I didn't particularly want to to essentially do a direct copy. I wanted to have something a little bit different, just something different to players, really. So I had originally made this character as a tank and make use of the alignment changeover that you could do, and had gone for Willpower Kinetic Melee. And I did get that character to 50, but once it was done, just didn't want to play it. I don't think Kinetic Melee worked on a tank, to be quite honest. I think it was too weak sauce. So when Street Justice was announced, I thought, well, I'm definitely going to be picking that up because it sounds awesome, and it was obviously built for, you know, scrappers and whatnot in mind. Once I got to see it in action, there was a few videos that were released once NDA was lifted off beta, and I saw it in action, and I immediately said, right, I'm remaking King Bishop as a brute and taking that because I don't know, I just immediately said, right, yeah. A lot of people said they were like remaking their martial arts based character, like stalkers or scrappers or even the brutes, remaking them because they said it actually looks better than the original martial arts. It's like, well, yeah, it probably is somewhat better animated than what we had before with original powers, certainly. But I still think the original martial arts was better suited for, you know, sort of traditional sort of martial art look and whatnot, whereas Street Justice seems to be tailor-made for just brute, really, or essentially brutish scrapper, where it's just down and dirty fighting, essentially. So yeah, it was one of those power sets. It's only really been out within the, well, essentially, yeah, I remember showing the video actually at the Players Meet in Birmingham in 2011. I remember actually showing it was just ready to come out then, so it's been about a year since it's been out. But like a lot of the new power sets that they came out, rather than it just being here's a set of attacks and that was it done, you actually put a essentially combo system to it. So you'll notice in the top right corner, you'll see progressively going up from combo level 1, 2 and 3 as I'm going through. So my first 3 powers build up the combos, and then you'll notice that the last 3 have a circle around them once the combo level 3 is up. Essentially you got after effects with the attack if you went to combo level 3, as well as more damage. So big one being the crushing uppercut, which actually does more damage than the knockout blow and super strength. So one reason I said I was going to have this on King Bishop. The sweeping strike was an AoE, not an AoE, it was more of a cone as they refer to it, but it was a very awkward cone. It was like, I see it animate and I thought that really should have hit that enemy given the animation style. So I don't know, that one seemed a bit off. I always thought that it could have done a bit of a work. And then spinning strike was the AoE, I should say. I do miss having a foot stomp ground pound type power on King Bishop, as it were. That used to have it on Prince Bishop. Obviously the AoE on this isn't anywhere near as big, so it doesn't quite feel the same. So I was actually kind of hoping that they were going to be releasing Nova Fist, which is what Marauder used. He was the evil back alley brawler from Pretoria. He had the Nova Fist power, which was like a massive ground punch power in his Incarnate trial, Lambda Sector. I was kind of hoping that they were going to release that available as a potential judgment power for characters, because I probably would have still had the frost power like I have here as I do on Prince Bishop. But I mean, you could always have multiple ones and you swap them out depending which one. And I probably would have liked to have the option for the ground pound one on King Bishop, and basically just let it all, you know, essentially go. So I mean, lore-wise, essentially King Bishop is Bishop, albeit pretty much like Tyrant decided he was going to use his powers to rule the world rather than save the world, and it also didn't really care much to essentially hold back. That was essentially my lore excuse for you know, Tanker obviously not piping out the damage compared to other ones, as a case of didn't want to obviously, you know, cause untoward damage because he potentially could, whereas obviously this version really doesn't care, because he will, you know, obviously ruling with an iron fist and whatnot will quite happily smash. So the idea being that obviously I would go brute, go willpower, and still kind of be as best unkillable as possible, which seems to work. I think actually, I mean, he is fully IO'd out, but he probably wasn't IO'd out in the same vein that Bishop was. He certainly doesn't have any of the regeneration score that Prince Bishop has, does King Bishop. But I think there's still enough there which is solid for a brute. But I think also backed up with the Tier 4 Destiny, the bubble shield, obviously, as you can see here, seems to do the trick. So yeah, lore-wise, essentially, he's in his universe he killed his brother Mythix, so he doesn't exist. Well, he does, but you know, I'll get to him in the next video actually. But yeah, essentially he does an all back. So that was the whole idea of the character. So yeah, it was you know, once he was IO'd out and also incarnated out, then he actually felt tanker brutish and actually felt like he could do something. So yeah, it doesn't have the sort of AoE control that obviously Prince Bishop has by virtue of being the tank, obviously, and certainly doesn't have the AoE control that Tower has, simply because Tower has like a 5-second foot stomp and whatnot. But it seemed to work on the few like sort of group missions I did in teams with King Bishop. It seemed to work, being tanker brute. But I think the incarnate shield probably helped more than anything. But yeah, concept-wise, it all works. You know, he hasn't really been put down, you know, since then. So, but yeah, another fun set actually. It was definitely set. You had to obviously be patient to obviously build up the combo. You got more out of it if you got it to combo level 3. You can instantly get yourself to level 3. I'll show you with the build-up power. It was not as a, didn't give you as much of a damage boost as the other build-up powers, but it gave you a little bit. But it also instantly gave you combat level 3, so you could literally dive in and then fire off a power that was, you know, essentially the full strength of the combo finishes anyway. So if it was a single target, obviously I'll probably go in and do the uppercut since it's the big one. I have one-shotted certainly minions with a combo level 3 uppercut, and I think depending on the level of Lieutenant, I think obviously with the +1 level shift lock up going on, if I hit them with the laser beam eyes, which was a minus defense power, I also have a minus damage resistance running with the incarnate interface. I think the idea was that as long as I hit them with level 3, I would essentially one-shot lieutenants potentially, depending on who it was, still the enemy and whatnot. So yeah, came across as very strong. What I think one of the other reasons for picking Street Justice as well is, yeah, it still does have a bit of a martial arts feel to it. I also wanted to say that, you know, King Bishop was definitely more an accomplished fighter, whereas, you know, Prince Bishop was just wailing his, you know, fists around and just doing whatever just to get the job done. He obviously wasn't a trained fighter. King Bishop made it an effort to be a trained fighter, so that essentially he does better hand-to-hand combat than Prince Bishop. I'm not going to get around them. Oh, there we go. When you get around the corner, so I can just use the judgment power here and wipe a lot of these out. There we go. Start piping out some extra damage as well using the hybrid. Yeah, I made my best effort to make sure that King Bishop was fully incarnated out and IO'd out as soon as he was 50, just so that I could immediately have him match Prince Bishop. So yeah, haven't really done, like I said, unfortunately didn't do a great lot with the character, as you know, as a result of obviously the game shutting and whatnot. But at least I did get, at least I actually got him IO'd out and fully incarnated to the ones that, you know, the IO powers that they did bring out and whatnot. I was curious to see what they were going to bring out and whatnot in the future. Was looking forward to that, but you know, c'est la vie and whatnot. So yeah, fun set to Street Justice. Loved that uppercut. I loved it. Actually, I mean, what I was pictured was, I don't know if anyone's obviously seen the animated Superman Batman Apocalypse. There's the final fight at the end, and Darkseid just gives this almighty uppercut, and that crushing uppercut kind of reminds me of that, and it kind of played into the sort of like mindset I had of making King Bishop as strong as he is. So there we go, another successful mission against Council. No stragglers and whatnot. So yeah, another good set really. Required a little bit more thought and obviously planning with the combo system than just simply going in and smash and whatnot. Very nicely animated. I do like the animation. They're all pretty sweet. So it suited the character, that I had in mind. So very well done. So take a quick look at the costume as well. I've only got the one costume. I didn't really get round to making other costumes in the sense anyway. But it's obviously still the same face of the character and whatnot. But yeah, gone for the. I did change the. Just try and zoom a little bit so you can actually see somewhat ridges. It was just plain spandex originally, as it was with Prince Bishop, which was akin obviously to, original Superman. But obviously I went for the somewhat slightly armoured look on Prince Bishop, with the character redesign they've got going on in DC with the new 52. For King Bishop I tried to do the same. It took a while before I found something that was suitable. So the pattern is, I can't even remember what the name of the pattern is, but it's the same pattern that I've always had on the character when I've made it. But I managed to find one that had so as you can see, just a little bit of ridge effect, just for a little bit of detail. The emblem's obviously the emblem for the Dunelm Kingdom. I've got that on all characters associated with that. I always thought the shoulder pads were pretty sweet. Like they looked fairly badass, but fairly regal. The cape was actually a one I could put on a character at level 1. I can't remember which pack it came with now. I think it was actually in one of the packs before they went free to play and like the frequent microtransactions going on. But yeah, that's the Impervium Mantle. I thought, yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'll have that on there. So, and then I tried to kind of mimic the Statesman stroke Tyrant look as well, with almost having a full mask other than the face, and then essentially metal face at the front. So that was the Valkyrie front plate. A lot of people that used to make Statesman knockoff, including myself, before they gave us the official Statesman helm, which you saw with the Bishop video, used to use that because it was somewhat close. But for King Bishop I also managed to fit in essentially sort of like crown head at the top, just for a little added effect, on the name. So yeah, I always liked the costume, and when I showed it to my mates and what they thought was a pretty badass costume as well. So really suit the character. So I would have liked to have played this character a lot more, and do a little bit more lore story and whatnot, and write out confrontations between the two and whatnot. But there we go. Still might have a chance in other games. We've just got to see how it plays out. But there we go. So yeah, fun little character. So that's the first of the 4 characters in the Dunelm Kingdom. Check in next time, and we'll move on to I believe it will be the final brute that I've got in the list. So see you soon.